is in the Old Testament. Micah, the 6th chapter and the 8th verse, please. Micah, 6th chapter, the 8th verse. The book of Micah. And Micah is considered one of the minor prophets. As we said before, major and minor prophets are not divided by major minor based on how good of a prophet they were, but more so on the length of the book that they have written. And so Micah is only a few chapters long, and so Micah is classified as a minor prophet. But Micah was a prophet of God and spoke to the people primarily in Samaria, which was the capital of Israel, but also to all of the Jews through this book. And Micah 6:8, it says, "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." May the Lord add a blessing to the reading of His word. You may have your seat. He has shown you what is good. What does the Lord require of you? Though these words were written to Samaria and the Samaritans, the capital of Israel, it was also for Jerusalem, the capital of Judah. It was also to all of us who would proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord. For we are then grafted in by way of the blood of Christ into the family, so to speak. We are considered an extension of Judah, an extension of Israel, extension of Judaism. And so these words also are for us. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. I grew up near Charlottesville. Charlottesville, Virginia is literally about 45 minutes south of where I grew up. Growing up in Culpeper is such a small town, especially during those days. There were no LGBT type of outlets for me and my friends and those of us that were of the LGBT community. However, Charlottesville had a VIP, members only, gay club right there in Charlottesville. This was back in 1995, 96, and it had been open for quite some time. Charlottesville was progressive. If you wanted a gay club, you'd have to go from Culpeper, you'd have to go to D.C. That was an hour and a half north. If you wanted the gay scene, then that's where you go. But then Charlottesville was also a place where you could go and be in the area, be in the same vicinity, in the same building as other people that had the same ideas on love and relationships as you. And so me and my friends, probably about once every month or so, or maybe twice a month, we would drive and pile on into my little, I believe it was a 1984 Toyota Corolla. And we head on down the road to Charlottesville. And we'd stand in this long line, and we'd end up having to get up to the window, and they'd let us in, and boy, it was like gay utopia there. And it was like, woo-wee, everything, drag queen, you know, it was the one place that we could actually go and feel safe. That's right. Imagine that. Then they told us they were like, y'all, and I'm be quite honest with you, you know, I'm a transparent type of pastor. You know, I'm 16 at that point. I wasn't supposed to be up in there. I snuck in. So then they told us, we're gonna let y'all keep coming, but there's something that y'all can actually go to at a restaurant where y'all don't have to sneak in. We said, what? It happens on Friday nights, and y'all are allowed to go to this, and it's a gay event. And we said, what? And so we found out that they were in the open. It wasn't a VIP place where you had to stand in the line. It was right there in the open. It was a restaurant that had a little sliding window that after the lights went down, after about 7 o'clock at night, they roll it up and you could be out there and they would play music, and it was nothing but gay people. It was a gay night at a restaurant. That was right up our little alley. So we're about 16, 17 years old, hanging out in the broad day. Well, it wasn't broad daylight, but at 6 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, over there with a whole bunch of gay people in Charlottesville. I'm talking 20 years ago. And so it was a surprise to me when I turned on the news and saw that it looked like Charlottesville was a place. Because if you don't know Charlottesville, I'm probably telling y'all something real new. Because if you didn't know Charlottesville, you think it was podunk, old, nothing but rednecks, and it must be behind the times, and they must really be, you know, just behind everything. They don't know nothing, and this is a racist type of place. This is non-progressive. But I'm telling you that Charlottesville 20 years ago didn't have no problem with gay people, and so it made it real hard for me to believe that they had a problem with the fact that there was a Confederate memorial being taken down and it's caused this much disturbance. That's right. How is it that 20 years ago, and I'm telling you, when we partied, it looked just like this. It wasn't, no, well, it's just the black gay people right here tonight, or it's just the white gay people over here tonight. It was all of us, and we were in the broad daylight. We were right there amongst one of them. My first girlfriend lived in Charlottesville. Met her right there in that little restaurant. She was Asian. And we go to the mall in Charlottesville, holding hands, don't care. Because it's Charlottesville. It ain't Culpeper where we might get hurt. It ain't Culpeper where we might get called out and called a name, or our lives may be threatened. This is Charlottesville. And so you can let your hair down in Charlottesville. You can hold hands and walk through the mall and not care. 20 years ago. So I turn on the news and I see that Charlottesville on there looking like 1952. That's right. What happened? That's right. That a city that was so progressive 20 years ago has dwindled down to be so non-accepting in 2017. I was appalled. I had to stay silent. If you saw my Facebook post, I couldn't even say anything. Yesterday was a really difficult day. Yesterday marks the day of my aunt's birthday. And while it is a great occasion, because also Erica's mother's birthday is also, it's melancholy for me because I love my aunt. Y'all know she passed away last year. And so the day comes around, August 12th rolls around, and I feel a certain way, you know. And so I already was high in my emotions. And then I look on the news and I see that near my hometown, I'm looking at the streets and they look familiar. I'm looking like I've been right there. This is where I walked before, holding hands with, you know, like this is where I've been. But I'm watching a car barrel down the same street that I've walked on and roll folks over like they are pins on the bowling alley. So I felt some kind of way. Y'all know Charlottesville. Y'all ever seen the Waltons? Yeah. That's Charlottesville. Charlottesville it's like Richmond Hill is to Savannah. It's Charlottesville. That's the same thing. That's the big city. The Waltons Mountain is just, 10-15 miles to the side of it. That's Charlottesville. So y'all know it too. That was in your living room at one point in time. And so here I'm watching TV and I'm watching my home. And I'm watching my people. And I couldn't even watch the video because I'm going to be honest with y'all. I have friends. Now, birds of a feather flock together. And I have friends that live in Charlottesville. And so I said, Lord Jesus, when I saw that the counter protesters had gotten bold, with the car, I said, I can't even watch the video. Because if I see one of my friends fly, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's right. And so it took me a while, and one of my friends, I went on her page, and I didn't see a post about it. And I said, this ain't like her. This ain't like her. She would be posting. She posts everything. She's one that she's me. So I'm like, what's going on now? And so I got scared. 3 hours had to pass by. I was too afraid to even message her. Finally, I got up the nerve and I posted on her thing, are you okay? Where are you? Please tell me you're safe. Then somehow it refreshed and I saw like 5 different news feeds and she was fine. And I said, all right, praise the Lord that you're fine. And she said, girl, I was actually headed out to the counter protest. And she said, my gut told me to stay inside. She said, I feel like a coward because I didn't go out and I didn't do what I know I should have been doing. And I said, no, baby, you was listening to your gut. That's smart. And so I began to pray. Last night I painted and I prayed. That's all I did. Erica can tell you I got mad at her at a portion of the night because she said something, I flipped off on her, so that happened. But then after because we squashed stuff real quick, so after we squashed that and she understood where I'm coming from, I went upstairs and I just started painting and I started praying. God, what do I talk to the people about? What do I say to the people? How do I address folks that may be feeling the same way as I'm feeling? What do I say to people that are expecting? Because I'm watching my news feed and there's all kinds of people like, where are the pastors? Where are the clergy? I need y'all to speak up. Somebody say something. We need a word. And I ain't got one. I don't know what to say, right? So at that point, I'm like coming from a place of anger. I had a lot of stuff I would have liked to put on the thing, but it would not have been healthy. And I started praying, God, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? And then Micah 6:8 popped in my head. What does the Lord require of you? Yes. To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. What does the Lord require of you, Candace? To walk justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. What do you say to the people tomorrow, Candace? That their job is to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with their God. We must keep doing what is required of us. We must not allow the actions of others hinder us from acting justly, loving mercy, and walking humbly with our God. If we allow someone else's stuff to dictate the way in which we act, then we will be going like this. Anywhere the wind blows, that's how we react.
That's right. Praise the Lord.
We cannot let our emotions get involved in this. Although our emotions are in it, we must separate from the emotion of it and look straight ahead and say, but my mission is, I know what's going on. I know, and I'm not ignoring what's happening around me, but I have a mission that's greater than just this. And my mission is, what God requires of me is to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with my God. And so that means that I will speak up and speak out against what's happening. The racism, the terrorism that's happening is appalling. To act justly means that you do the right thing even when no one is looking. It means that you call it out. Justice will prevail, shall prevail, has to prevail for each and every person that is involved in this country and involved in what has happened. Justice and love mercy. That's where I got caught. Love mercy. Mercy does not fall only on people that do what's right.
That's right. That's right.
This is so hard. Mercy falls mainly on people that do what's wrong.
That's right.
Right. Why do you need mercy if you're doing what's right?
That's right, Pastor.
Here, let me give you $100. So show mercy on me, Lord. What for? I don't need mercy. Punch you in the face, bam. Show mercy on me. I need mercy then. I've done something wrong. I need mercy. And the Bible tells me, and this is what I got so caught up on, God, that I'm supposed to act justly. Got that because I'm the first one to put a picket sign up. I'm the first one to go march through the street. I'm the first one to say justice, and it's got to prevail. But God told me I also also have to love
Yes.
mercy.
Come on, Pastor.
Yes.
And so those people that I saw get barreled down with that car, I can't just want justice for them, but I also have to want mercy and love mercy that God would give to the driver.
That's right. That's right. That's right, baby. That's right.
The people that were so hateful with torches, screaming racial slurs, things that I would never want my children to ever hear, coming and spewing from their mouths. I have to love mercy for them.
Yes.
A president that got up and did not denounce
That's right.
what was going on. Skated around the issue like he was on the ice rink. Just, I'm going to skate that issue. I don't want to talk about it because he didn't want to call it and pinpoint it for what it was. I got to love mercy for him too.
My Lord. My Lord.
Because what does the Lord require of me?
Yes.
But to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. What does that mean? Walk humbly with your... See, a lot of us would take that to mean, well, you're not supposed to say nothing. You're supposed to be humble. You're not supposed to stand up for anything because that's not being humble. You're supposed to lie down for everything. That's not being humble. And that's not what it's saying anyway.
Amen.
It says to walk humbly with your God. This is walking humbly with God. God, I know that you are bigger and wiser than I am. Your ways are higher than my ways. Your thoughts higher than mine. And so I submit, this is the humility part, to you, God, because I know that you are not going to lead me astray.
Yeah.
I humbly go and do whatever it is that you have me to go and do. That's humbly with your God. It didn't say just be humble and sit back. It said to walk humbly, which means that there are steps in which you should take. There's somewhere that God is trying to take us, even in this situation. There's something God is trying to show us, and somewhere he needs us to go, and he needs us to be submissive, humble enough that we say, God, whatever you require of me. That's why I love the fact that we sung this song today, Give Myself Away. We had folks come forward and say that they are willing to be used by God, because it takes being used by God and being humble to say, God, I walk with you humbly. I know you know where I should go. I know you know where I should do, what I should do, and what I should say. And so I'm humble. I'm submissive to you. And I'm willing to do it. Love, mercy, and walk humbly and act justly. That is what God is requiring of us in this hour. These are not easy things. But I encourage you all to read the book of Micah. Like I said, the book of Micah was written to the Israelites. And particularly, it was written to the leadership. The Israelites, as you know, were supposed to be worshiping the one true God. Instead, the leaders of their nations had persuaded them to begin worshiping and following behind idols. And the leaders of the nations would cheat the poor and rob from the poor. The leaders of the nation, not the people, the leaders of the nation.
All right.
And so Micah the prophet said, well, he talked to God, and the Lord said, I'm going to punish Israel for their sin, for the leadership taking advantage of the poor, cheating the people, worshiping other gods. And this is the result of what God said. I don't know about you, but when I read Micah, I see America. When I read Ezekiel, I see America. When I read about Sodom and Gomorrah, I see America. Because when you see what they did to deserve their punishment, it looks a whole lot like what's happening here. Read Micah. Because it goes like this. The Lord is going to punish the people for what they've done. But then he gives a promise of hope.
That's right.
Then it says that the Lord will punish evil rulers and lying prophets. And Israel is seen guilty. But then the last part is that the nation turns back to God. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Fear not. Keep doing what God requires of you. And that is to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. For in doing so, it's going to be all right.
That's right.
And we're going to make it.